We will
see
keep
what happens
going.
next.
The last donut.
Mm-hmm. And wouldn't you like to know?
It's a juicy looking donut that looks lovely.
And this was actually the third last shot we shot in the entire movie.
Was the original donut not looking good enough?
The original thing was I actually had a different shot in this moment. Originally I tried another thing where the camera was down, it was looking at the donut, and then it slowly went back up.
Oh.
But then, and all the kids were like, "Oh, I'm so full."
Yeah.
And it was okay. But the problem was then Charlie started speaking, but Charlie didn't speak at the right time when the camera went up, which is not his fault. That wasn't the direction. The direction was just down, slowly go up, and then cut. And then we'll cut to him talking.
Yeah.
But I didn't, and this is actually a thing I learned pretty early on about continuity and that sort of stuff, is you want to try and cut to something else or cut to a different enough angle so you can't tell that they're two different takes. Because if you, let's just say if you're looking at me right now and this is a medium shot of me, and then if we cut to a close-up of my face and it's a different shot, like a different take, you're going to be able to tell that, like, maybe my words, my mouth didn't sync up right, or maybe in the wide shot my head was like this, and then in the close-up my head's like this, and suddenly you can tell that it's a change, whereas you want it to look continuous. That's continuity, continuous. And so the hope is that, not the hope, for this shot it went up and I found out actually that didn't work, which is a lesson I learned very often. So this, after I showed a friend, my good friend Justin McLean, he very kindly, a couple of the stages throughout the video, he watched bits and pieces, and actually he just mentioned a couple of really helpful things that really shaped. There's a bit I'll tell you about later, which really shaped, I think you know what I'm talking about. And this was one of the bits where he was like, hey, it doesn't quite work because of that cut. I don't know what you can do, but try something. And then after a bit of thinking about it, I was like, I'll just put a close-up of the donut, which makes sense anyway, because it's trying to emphasize that. And then we'll cut to Charlie, which you'll see in a second. And I really like this shot. I think it's a really lush... It's really hard to make food look good without getting fake food like in the ads. And I think it actually looks like a really appetizing donut, which I'm really thankful.
Yeah, it's definitely the best looking donut of the whole lot. And I'm very surprised the kids didn't go with this one first. But alas, for the purposes of the movie, the best is saved till last.
That's right.
So you can see why they want to fight big time for this one.
Actually, originally I did shoot this close up, not the first time, but the second time once I'd realized the problem. Then I was like, all right, I'll shoot a close up. But the problem was, if you see, because I'll just skip a little bit, see how there's all this these sprinkles around.
That's the sugar, isn't it?
That's the cinnamon sugar. Sorry, not sprinkles. Yes. When I put the donut here for this shot, there's no sugar around. So it looked completely wrong.
Yeah.
It didn't match.
Continuity error there.
That's
Josh.
right. But thankfully,
and we all would have noticed that. Again. We definitely would have noticed that. So I'm glad you fixed that.
Bit of a theme.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
All right, donut.
I was hoping for it. But I'm so hungry, I promise. I didn't think I could ever be full. Well, I'm the oldest, so I should have it. Well, I'm the youngest. I should have it. Ladies first, and I'm a lady, so I should have it. Well, I'm just hungry, so I should have it.
And so the hope here is they're just just speaking like you would think that they would speak.
It's all scripted, but it feels so natural.
I'm glad. Yeah. A lot of people, the biggest compliment they gave me was that they thought that the kids improvised their lines.
Oh wow!
And I was like, oh, so good. That means that the writing was just right.
Yeah.
So that
Did you tell these people that the kids didn't write their lines? That you wrote them for them?
Yeah, I did.
Sorry, kids. You didn't get credit for those lines.
Again, I love these shots as well. I just love, like, I didn't do any lighting here. I'm terrible at lighting, but I just, the shadows, the soft shadows of their face, the warmth of their skin tones as well. The fact that the background is out of focus.
It's very cinematic.
These shots are so nice, and it just worked out well. And it's really not because I'm great at, honestly, this is God's work. Like, we just set up our table there, and it ended up looking really pretty.
This was filmed in God's country, in God's local park, and praise God for that.
Yeah.
It's just so beautiful. And,
it's really nice.
You know, what a perfect setting, perfect backdrop for this amazing movie to take place. Not some vast, arid landscape like you'd see in the Star Wars movies, or some amazing land completely made by CGI. No, this is real grass. Real trees, real sun, real everything.
No green screens in this video.
No green screens.
Yeah, all
It
real.
is just
So couldn't do anything else.
excellent.
I'm glad you think so.
So I should have it. Well, I'm the youngest. I should have it. Ladies first, and I'm the lady, so I should have it.
Well, I'm just hungry, so I should have it.
I should have it. I should have it. I should have it.
I should have it.
I love how there's the swelling of the whatever you call it in the sound at that moment as it goes. I should have it. I should have it. I should have it. It's like, you know. It's...
I'm glad. Again, I have to thank Justin for that suggestion. Originally, I just had the lines of dialogue, and then it went straight to. But Justin watched. He's like, yeah, it's all right. It just kind of feels like it goes from a 10 out of 100 to 100 instantly. And so just having them give an extra, I should have it, I should have it, I should have it.
So the desperation.
Yes.
And I want it. And then they're like, you know, because we hit the breaking point where everyone just stops using their words and just starts yelling.
And this is where the kids in the team are like, can I hit each other? Can I hit each other? And then there's like one of their favourite bits from 3 different camera angles just to get to whack each other for fun. That was very funny.
You can tell they're having a lot of fun at this moment.
Yeah, but it was so funny. This
so good.
entire first scene took so long to film as well because they were so young. Like they were between, Cooper was 8, Charlie, the oldest, was 11. So,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's
amazing.
Right. They're so
2020,
little.
wasn't it? 2020. And now we're in
We just come out
2024,
of
and you're probably
lockdown.
watching this in 40 years from now.
And they just they didn't know how to act. They didn't know that things take multiple
disrespect,
takes.
of course,
No,
but-
not at all.
No,
I was
but-
about to say,
yeah.
they didn't know how to do things, but it's so fair enough. They didn't know that you got to practice things. They didn't know that you practice their line. They didn't know that you couldn't just do whatever you wanted in the moment, whatever you felt like, because it wouldn't necessarily fit with what's going on. It would be really confusing. And part of the whole thing was actually me learning to be a bit more flexible as well. And throughout the process, like, okay, yeah, like that's a cool idea. Let's use that. Or because they would suggest lots of things throughout filming the whole video.
Yeah.
And some of them were really funny and like really cool, and some of them made it in.
Excellent.
And particularly the choreography was 90% them. We'll get to that. And then some of the things was just like, Zach, I remember on the first day, was like, can I chop Kira's arm off? And I was like, probably not.
I think the G rating's out the window at that point.
They were just so keen to kill each other with these lightsabers and mutilate each other.
I mean, this is perfectly family entertainment.
And so I think I used the excuse of, I think that's a little bit hard for me to do. It's a bit hard with visual effects, which is completely true.
I mean, from a creative standpoint, it's fine. We could do that, but technically it's too hard.
And so sometimes, it was a learning process for all of us.
Yeah.
And we learned, I think, by, 6 months to a year in, it was more collaborative than it was at the very start.
That's good.
And they got so good at being patient and practicing and doing things and learning to take direction as well. And me trying to learn how to give direction to children.
Yeah.
Like, most of them are teenagers now, but yeah, it was like, oh, what makes them tick? What can I say to?
Yeah.
And there was a bit where because Kira loves she loves Harry Potter, and so it's like, oh, what if, look over there, and someone's just taken all of your Harry Potter stuff, and they've burned them, and she's like, oh. It's like, yeah, that's the one. You did it. That was so good. But when I was like, oh, act shocked because you've just seen Charlie wake up, she's like, so many times throughout the video, you can see the bloopers, just laughing and smiling, which is so sweet. It's so fun. Like we had fun making it, and that was nice. And particularly once we realized, okay, this is going to take a couple years to make. It's like, let's not have a time limit. Let's just. You know, we'll practice things. Let's not do them to death. Let's not get them perfect. Let's just have fun. And sometimes we just hung out for like half an hour, 45 minutes between takes, and it was just we'd whack each other with lightsabers. Or they chased me up a tree at one point, sticking me with like one of the dolly poles.
I mean, it's so good that not only did you have lots of fun, but, you know, you learnt about how to do film direction, and you learn how to, like, teach acting to child actors, essentially. And they got to learn how to do choreography, and they got to learn how to do facial expressions and deliver lines, and learn about just the incidents and how to actually film different shots. So everyone learned a lot about filmmaking from doing it.
I think so.
So that's part of just having fun, whilst also learning heaps about the art of filmmaking. I mean, what a great way of doing it. So
which is
so cool.
Just fun. So I think we all learned from it and had fun, and it was really helpful for me as well because I never really even. This is kind of the first proper narrative thing I've done. Technically I did one in 2015. That was for Tropfest Junior. It's called Tomorrow. It's called Tomorrow.
Yes.
It's probably one of the worst things I've ever made. It's
that's a bit harsh.
It's harsh, but it's also early on. Like I was only 5 years into making anything. 5 years from I was 15. 14 even. I didn't know what I was doing. Like, and it was like I learned from.
You learn a lot.
I say it's terrible not to trash it or to like throw shade at my past self.
You know, he's going to put a link somewhere on here for you to be able to go watch that on his YouTube
We're 52
channel.
minutes in. I will not be watching this again. Oh, not quite 52. 52 on the counters, but for you guys, it's probably like 48 or something.
Yeah, because you're probably watching this on double speed to make it less long for you.
We're 1 minute, 12 seconds in.
Well, we probably should get going now.
What were we going to talk about? Oh, well, I'll just briefly finish the thought, which was just it was a learning process. I'd never really done proper direction before with like getting people to emote and like
and to act
and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I found it really helpful actually in filming everything else that I've done. And I've used so many things that I learned from here and the ways to interact and to be a bit and like one of the biggest things was if I'm silly or if I'm getting into stuff or if I'm running into trees or falling over or whatever it is, if I'm doing that, they feel like they could do that as well. And it loosens other people up so long as you're willing to look like a fool, basically. There's this shot of me trying to get Zach to do a facial expression, which we can point to later, where he goes, oh, and I've just this big dumb expression on my face to try, but it worked because he looked at me. He's like, "Oh, Josh is being silly. I can be silly too. I'll do this big silly face and that sort of stuff." So that was a lot of it. I didn't know any of this at this point. At this point, I was just learning. This is only day one. But
we got a long way to go.
Time. Yeah.
It's so good though. It's so good you get to learn that. Yeah,
it's good fun. All right,
shall we keep going?
Let's keep going. Tensions are rising.
I mean, I'm very tense at this point. This is a tense moment. Well, another cut. Here we go.
Yeah.
Build. Quick cuts. Oh, wow.
Nathan, I'm so interested. What did you think when you first saw this shot of them doing the Force? Well, did you see them do the Force and then fly backwards?
Whoa.
fall over. And while you'll note the dolly is also going backwards.
Yeah, I mean,
There's so much going on this shot. This
That
shot took us
shot.
like half an hour. But it was such a cool shot.
oh, you nailed the shot. Nailed it. Worth the extra effort to get it right. I mean, like, the force is clearly strong with all of them. That's very clear. I think it's quite funny that, you know, they use the force and then they fly backwards at how powerful they all are, but the table goes forwards. Does that physically work in the world of physics? I'm not too sure, but does it look cool? Absolutely. Movie magic at its best.
Yeah, so fun.
yeah.
Yeah, actually on the
It's even funnier watching it backwards. It actually looked really cool when
Oh,
you
back
see
up.
the
Oh,
yeah. See, watch, Here we go. Whoa. Look at the cups of that. That's so good.
oh, so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were saying?
Just that it took us forever, and we're like, well, we've only got one shot at this because we don't have to set everything back up again. Again, it was a big G up section to be like, all right, quick, just you gotta fall and just it'll be okay. Like, look at Zach. That's right. So funny. Oops. Yeah. So, very
that was
fun.
brilliantly done.
And yeah, one
Those
of the
chairs
dollies
are
shot
weird, though.
backwards to emphasize the shot as well.
I like
the lens
how-
flare, and it's all in there.
I like how Cooper, he sort of goes forward, dives over his own
Yes.
chair like he's driving into a swimming pool. You know, it's brilliant.
And so then it's
yeah.
like, okay, this is the moment. Yeah, what I forgot. Did you say what did
Was
you
there
think when
anything-
you first saw it?
The force is strong with them, as I said.
Right, yes.
And obviously, you know, one wonders how that was achieved.
Yes.
I think you've told me before how you sort of, you know, you were able to yank the table forward.
With the force.
But yeah, what was the answer to the question? What did you want me to say?
Oh no! Like, as in literally on the premiere night. Was it like?
Well,
I don't know.
I think I'd known about that shot somehow. I feel like
yeah, because this was so early on. I might have even shown you.
I think
or
I'd
something
seen
like that.
something like this. I had a
Actually,
feeling.
no, it's in the trailers.
Well, that'd be it. Obviously, that's where I saw it.
Actually,
yes.
no.
No,
Sorry, it is in the first two trailers.
It's in something.
We made 3 trailers for the 3 Christmases in a row that wasn't finished, and we
Yeah.
always made it till 4th Christmas.
One trailer a year.
But you actually only saw the 3rd trailer, which didn't have this in it. Because
Ah.
the 3rd trailer only had the stuff that we then reshot later, so it didn't have any
okay.
footage that was actually in the video.
But maybe I saw a version of that which was like not the final version. Maybe.
Potentially, yeah. Certainly,
Anyway.
we'd probably talked about it before, that sort
Yeah,
of thing.
but it's such a cool shot. I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you did
I think it's tied with the very first shot. It's like the first. Oh, okay, something's going on here. This is yeah.
Oh, there's definitely a lot going on, and we're just getting started.
Yeah, literally.
All right, more black screen. Love a black screen.
Let's just give a round of applause for Cooper, who's lying on the ground in this moment. Cooper lay on the ground so many times throughout the shooting. See if you can spot how many shots are throughout where Cooper is lying on the ground, because he was just knocked out in the story for so much of the video. And for most of the time, as you're watching, you're like, oh, of course he's in the background knocked out. Like, because he's knocked out.
Yeah, he's not there.
But in reality, he's acting. And he's lying on the ground trying not to move because the ants are crawling over him. And all of
I
that.
know, right? And like Josh
He
didn't
did
do
so
anything
well.
to help by always making sure that Cooper was somehow in the background of every shot. So yeah, never got a break.
I tried. And this, again, as things increase, this is another, like, oh, this is such a silly video moment. Because they've just
it's so
fallen
good.
over out of their chairs. And he's knocked out.
Yeah,
like,
the force is strong.
oh, it's so silly.
If I fall off one of those outdoor camping chairs, usually I get back up pretty quickly.
Usually.
But this is a movie.
That's right.
We need some real drama to go down here. Yeah, and I like how the donut is in the foreground. Just happens to be in the foreground on the
You
ground.
like the little rack focus there?
Yeah, I do like the
And so it's like, well, donut's important.
because you're guiding us as the audience to where you want us to look.
That's the goal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we're not clever enough to be able to do that ourselves.
And then, now the reason for this shot, partially, is just to efficiently show you this is what's going on. Like they're
Yeah.
all knocked out. It's not just Cooper.
Yep.
But it's also to give, and this is what I had to think about all throughout, is I got to give you a sense of the geography of the space.
Yeah.
And particularly as the lightsaber fights happen, there's a lot of shots, and I'll try and point them out, where almost the only reason it's there is so that you as the audience understand what is around these people, or these kids, and where are they going, what are they looking at, who are they talking to, all that sort of stuff. And so once you see this shot, your brain, because most people haven't been to this park, obviously, like this is the local park. This is, it's so lovely having it at this place. But most people don't know what the park is. So if everything's shot in like close-ups or mid-shots or that sort of stuff, no one knows where everything is and what's going on.
That's right.
And so this is where this sets it up. It even sets up, you can see in the top right-hand corner, the playground's down there. Behind them, you can see the bushes are there. You can actually see, and technically you can see the oval just behind as well. In this shot, you can actually see everything that's going on. All of where the stuff is, where the kids are, where the donut is, where the playground is, where everywhere they're going, all in this just one shot. And that's particularly why I was there.
There was a movie I saw a few years ago which didn't really do establishing shots. I think it was one of the later Star Wars movies. And it made it very hard to feel like there was world building going on. So I'm really glad that you did a few establishing shots to build out this world of this local park. And, it's a big world, of course. So. But they're all key set pieces. The playground, the grass area, the tree area, and then the flat area without any trees. It's just flat grass. And so there's lots of different parts of this park. So we want to explore the park.
Of course.
now?
Yeah. And what I love about this
impressive
park
park.
is there's 3 different locations for 3 different battles that all feel completely different.
Yeah.
And we'll
3-act structure.
That. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
that's
that's
right. Also a little bit of foreshadowing in this moment. What do you think the foreshadowing is, Nathan?
Are they on the same sides for who they're teaming up with later
They
on?
are.
Spoilers for those who haven't watched the movie yet.
And it also shows how close those teams are going to be.
See
See on the left, Kira and Charlie are knocked out very close to each other because they end up being a good team that works together later on. On the opposite side is Cooper and Zach. Who, yes, they are on a team together. But they're actually pretty physically distant here.
They are.
Because as you'll see, they're a pretty dysfunctional team.
Yes.
They don't work very well together.
Sorry, guys, but I think
in the movie, of course.
Charlie and Kira did it much better. And it's because they bonded over how close they ended up falling onto the ground to each other.
Yeah. Now, I would love to say that is intentional foreshadowing. But that's actually the first time I've thought about that. I've seen this movie a million times. I've seen this shot a million times. Even I'm still learning things about that. This is like when they say, "Oh, why were the curtains blue?" in a book, and the English teacher's like, "It's foreshadowing because they're sad and they did this and this," and it's like, no, the curtains were just blue. But in this case, without even knowing it, I was still foreshadowing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Accidental foreshadowing
That's right.
is the sign of a great director.
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you. I'll pay you later for that comment.
Yeah, of course.
He's awake.
He's having a look around. Oh!
And he sees the donut.
It's hard to see the donut over the table, but he saw it.
That's right. That's why I have to
Sticks
look
out.
around.
Sticks out on the green grass. Oh, here we go.
And then I always get very excited about this moment.
I love the dolly shot there.
That's mine.
Oh, there's too much to talk about.
And what a brilliant intro to the lightsaber. Up until this point, no one knew there were going to be lightsabers. No one could have predicted that. But then some boom, it's a lightsaber. Where does that come from? So many questions, but don't answer the questions because the logic doesn't quite make sense. But anyway, over to you, Josh. What do you want to talk about?
So many things. We'll take it a thing at a time.
Okay.
So the hope here was also that, everyone's knocked out and it's kind of a mystery of like, what's going to happen next?
Who
They're
knows?
all knocked out. And then it's like, okay, Charlie wakes up. He looks around and as you say, It's actually pretty hard to see the donut from where he's at, so he kind of looked around for a bit. Again, building tension. The music's building tension as well. And then a little rack focus there again. A nice little crisp donut. Still looks nice, I think.
Looks really nice. I mean, 5-second rule doesn't apply in this movie.
True. And so all the only natural thing is to get up and get it.
If the 5-second rule did apply, this movie would have been over already. Anyway, moving on.
Then we move in.
Oh, this shot.
And
This shot.
dolly shot. And this originally this was actually an unbroken shot without this insert shot of Cooper, and then it goes down and then to the lightsaber.
Oh.
But when I was watching it, it actually this was the whole tension throughout the whole video. You can't make it too stupid.
No.
Like, you want to make it silly, not stupid, if that makes sense.
Yeah. There's a fine line between the two.
That's right. And so if things happen that don't make any sense, then all you're left thinking is, oh, well, that was stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, what the heck, what's going on?
Yeah.
So when this happened, because we've shown absolutely no indication that Cooper's even awake, let alone ready with a lightsaber,
Yeah.
you kind of watch and you go, psh, and it's like, whoa, it's shocking, but you're thinking a little bit like, oh, that was a little bit odd, sort of that sort of thinking, instead of just enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
And so that's why I ended up getting this insert shot of Cooper.
He's coming out of
that.
complete unconsciousness. Right?
Yes,
So,
because he's heard Charlie walking over. And of course, in this moment, and then, so now hopefully it's not stupid, it's just silly that he suddenly has this lightsaber.
Yeah.
Which again starts the theme throughout the video of there's no explanation as to why these kids know the Force or have lightsabers, anything like that. But it's just funny.
Yeah.
They just get it out of nowhere
Yeah.
just because they already had it. And as you said, Nathan, the hope was that this was this was like the make or break moment to be like, let's make this a big reveal of the lightsabers. We're just almost on the exact 2-minute mark into the video. We still haven't seen a lightsaber.
Yeah.
The kids are sitting there still freaking out, like, oh, what's gonna happen?
When's it gonna happen? Yeah.
And you can see the waveforms there, Nathan. You guys can't see in the video, but it goes from really very quiet to very loud. This really big bit, particularly is this big loud lightsaber sound effect. Yeah. I think it's an exciting reveal because also the cousins had never seen themselves with lightsabers yet. They had seen the poster technically, but even the poster, it's like a stylized version of the lightsabers. It's not quite exactly the same as in the video.
Yeah.
And they'd never seen it in motion. They'd never really seen themselves with lightsabers before. So I wanted to make that moment a really exciting moment. They're like, whoa, that's so cool.
Not only is the lightsaber in the shot, but it's actually lit up.
Yes.
It's got effects around it.
Yes.
That's
rather
what's
than
really
just
cool.
a stick.
Because in filming it, it just looked like a plastic thing, yeah.
That's right.
Not quite as cool as that. I mean, that just beautiful glow. And purple too. What a beautiful choice too. Because predictably you'd go with blue for the first lightsaber, but no, purple.
The least common one. I love that Cooper's has the purple lightsaber. I think it's so nice. And actually, this is the start of a couple little quirks with the lightsabers. Each lightsaber has a slightly... This is so lame. But every single lightsaber has a slightly different wiggle. Intensity of wiggle.
Yeah.
The more, like, we'll go with cheeky, more cheeky the character, the more wiggle it has.
Right.
So Charlie has the least wiggle as more of the stoic kind of leader in this.
That's it.
Actually, leader's a strong word, but he's the oldest one in this movie.
Statesman.
Yes, yeah, and obviously he makes decisions that are quite consequential in the end.
Yes.
Then it goes to Kira, who's a little bit more fiery, and a little bit more, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Then it goes to Cooper, and it's and because Cooper's and actually his lightsaber as well. The Charlie and Kira, their lightsabers are relatively just straight and thin. This one has a little bit of even distortion in it. You can't really this is but slight wobble. You'll see obviously Zach's has the most. And if you listen to this this lightsaber, ignition again, and the hum, the boom, that hum and the ignition, every single cousin has their own lightsaber sound,
Unique sound.
So every ignition sounds different to fit their personality. All the hums, some of them are a bit more intense, some of them are a bit less, some of them are a bit higher, a bit lower. The swings,
Oh yeah, they'd sound different too.
Sound different. All again tailored to the lightsabers. Whose lightsaber is whose, and even the clashes for Zach's, because Zach's has the real crackly kind of lightsaber.
Yeah.
His clashes with other people have a bit of a unique sound to them as well, which all just adds up. I think mainly all adds up because no one notices really.
No. Well, you bet now that you've been told this by Josh, you must make sure you listen out for it when you watch it next.
All it really adds up to be is, firstly, it does genuinely add character. Like you don't think about it, but
It's
if
all
I had the
subconscious.
if I had the same ignition sound effect for every single lightsaber, you would notice it all sounds the same.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, oh, okay, that's all right, but it's a little bit lame. Also, the swings, once you've heard the same swing, I mean, it's not literally, there's 16 swing sound effects per lightsaber.
But every swing is different.
Yes.
So it's
And
going to
sometimes
have
I pitch them
different
higher and lower as well, depending on, because actually there's this whole thing. Oh, actually, well, wait, remind me to talk about lightsaber clashes and all that sound effects when we get to it.
Yeah,
So it all just wanted to sound distinct and yeah, so you never get bored of the sound of lightsabers, basically. That's the goal.
because you're going to hear a lot of lightsabers in the next 10 minutes. So if it would all sound exactly the same, then it wouldn't quite have the same effect as the variations you hear, high, low, and loud, and sharp, and punchy, and every other adjective you can think of to describe the sound of a lightsaber crunch,
Basically.
and swing, and just the wobble. Anyway, it's a whole science.
It is. And I'm really proud of how these lightsabers look.
Oh,
I honestly,
you've done so well.
I tailored them just so they have the right amount of softness on the edge, the right amount of glow, the right color, the right shade of color, the right wobble, and there was actually there was a bit of coding that actually went into it. I actually won't get into the details because it's really boring. I actually forgot how I did it. I did it.
It was so boring, you forgot.
I did it nearly 3 years ago is when I made it. So I made a tutorial that I'm going to release eventually.
Yes, stay tuned for that.
And I literally said in the tutorial, I don't know how I did this, but here's the original file. You can use it.
They look really great.
I'm really glad.
Really great.
I honestly, I can't find lightsabers that look better, I think, on YouTube. At least, but part of that is also just a personal taste thing. Like, I tailored these to look exactly how I hope they would look. Other people really like how theirs look. So it's not that they're objectively the best. It's just I'm really happy with how they turned out.
And it was worth spending that extra time to make them look as good as they could in the environment, in the park with the kids, because it's such a key feature of the whole movie. It's a lightsaber video, so if you don't invest that effort into making them look as good as you can with the technology you've got, then why are you making a lightsaber video? So
for sure. And so I spent probably about, if I was working full time on this video, let's just say, as in like 9 to 5, I spent probably a week or so.
Wow.
Just creating the lightsabers.
Yeah.
Just the or maybe a little bit less than actually. But the reason I did is because I knew, although that's a while, I'm going to spend so much longer actually using, like, tracking them to the blades.
That's
right. I thought, well, I don't want to get halfway and go, oh man, I really just wish I put a bit more time in at the start.
That's right.
Because I can't go back and change all of them. I wanted to nail it at the start, and I actually never wanted to change it throughout.
So you saved a lot of time there, Josh.
Yeah, and actually, to be fair, the coding I did, which took a long time, that was the bulk of that period of time, genuinely saved me time. because there's a whole bunch of little sliders that you have to change to when the lightsaber is closer or further from the camera. And I used some coding to link them to just 2 sliders. So I could just adjust those 2 and it would adjust like 20 different sliders at the same time.
Wow.
So you can imagine if I had to go through and slide all of those tiny little ones, the video actually might still not have been finished.
Yeah.
So
Glad you didn't
although
do
it sounds ridiculous at the time, overall it actually was a significant time saver.
Well, what a relief to mankind. Imagine those sliders. You're still working on them tonight. Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
You did well. The battles are won in the preparation phase, Josh.
That's right. Oh, yeah, actually.
Okay.
So I'm really happy with how these
Let's
turned
rock
out.
and roll.
And I also wanted this moment to be exciting and like, oh, lightsaber.
Oh, yeah, it's a big moment.
But then it still doesn't yet pay off fully.
No.
Because then it's like, it just teases you basically. Because you see the lightsaber, you see Cooper with this lightsaber. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that crisp handle. Oh, I won't put this out every time, but I figured out lots of shortcuts. So I actually did this really quickly, but you can see it's perfectly outlined to come out of his lightsaber. And I was just stoked with that. That was really cool. But yes. And then it's like, oh, that was so cool. But then it starts building again.
Yes.
It starts building.
Well, do you know what Charlie's probably thinking?
Yeah.
Yes, what Charlie's probably thinking at this point is, oh, that lightsaber looks really cool. I wish I had a lightsaber.
Well, what do you know? And then he goes, oh, and then